We continue our breaking news coverage now on the Fox Report about Benghazi. We've learned more details inside that draft report on the House investigation into the deadly terror attack on our diplomatic post in Libya. Now remember, we told you at the top of the hour this report contains some serious accusations against a State Department panel, the one that the state set up and appointed to review that attack. Republican staffers have compiled a new report, this draft, for the chairman of the House Oversight Committee, Darrell Issa of California. Catherine Herod obtained this for us. She's been drilling into that tonight, that draft. She's live in Washington. Catherine, what does this report say about former Secretary Hillary Clinton and her deputies?
Well, Harris, this interim draft prepared by the Republican majority on the House Government Oversight Committee alleges that the State Department investigation, known as the Accountability Review Board, or ARB, played down the policy decision to maintain a presence in Benghazi with substandard security. The draft report concluded that none of the 4 State Department employees who were disciplined and later reinstated by Secretary Kerry in August were responsible for making policy. The interim report found that a December 2011 action memo prepared by Assistant Secretary of State for Near Eastern Affairs Jeffrey Feltman and signed off by Undersecretary for Management Patrick Kennedy green-lighted the operation. Witnesses said this decision to run the operation on an ad hoc basis was largely responsible for the inadequate security on the ground in Benghazi. The draft interim report also states that Mrs. Clinton wanted to extend the Benghazi operation. In the summer of 2012, as security conditions unraveled, a State Department employee said decisions about Benghazi's future operation went through Undersecretary Kennedy, who would then check first with Mrs. Clinton. Based on a conversation between Ambassador Chris Stevens and Mrs. Clinton, Stevens' deputy Greg Hicks testified earlier this year it was the former Secretary of State's personal goal to have a permanent operation in Benghazi. The draft interim report concluded that the State Department's unwillingness to provide the working documents from the ARB made it difficult to have an independent assessment of the overall product, Harris.
And some strong remarks in response tonight from the State Department that you brought us at the top of the hour. But what about the White House and the Obama administration? How are they reacting?
Well, we've only had a response so far from the State Department, but just for some context, from the White House and the State Department, when the ARB was released last December, it was really promoted as an aggressive investigation that left no stone unturned. And in fact, all of the report's 29 findings were accepted. Today, Fox News asked the State Department to respond to the draft report's claims, and specifically that the blame was not properly affixed at the most senior levels of the State Department, including Undersecretary Patrick Kennedy, who signed off on the Benghazi operation with the substandard security. And also, the report faults the ARB, or the State Department panel, for not thoroughly exploring Mrs. Clinton's role in dictating that policy in Benghazi. Late today, the State Department responding, quote, "The facts show that the ARB report," that's a State Department panel, "was prepared by people of unquestioned integrity, that the process has been transparent and open, and the lessons have been learned are now being implemented." Next week, the House Oversight Committee will be holding that public hearing on Benghazi, and significantly, the 2 co-chairs of that State Department panel, Pickering and Mullen, they will be the primary witnesses at that hearing, and they'll have to answer specific questions, undoubtedly, why the decision was made not to interview Mrs. Clinton about the policy decision and whether she had a direct role in it in Benghazi, Harris.
All right, Catherine Herridge, thank you very much. We appreciate your reporting tonight. As the news warrants, we